Imagine not being able to read the paper because your hands were shaking. Imagine not being able to read newsprint as your world faded to black. The National Federation of the Blind, Newsline, Indiana. Monthly Report. With your host, Lee Martin, and co-host, Florence Myers McSwine.
We want to welcome everyone to the National Federation of the Blind, NFB Newsline, Indiana Monthly Report. This is a report that brings citizens to understanding and awareness of what's going on in the blind community. As a member of the National Federation of the Blind, I am a blind citizen. I lost my sight 17 years ago. And going through the transition from a sighted world to a blind world, I did not know where I was going to go, how what I was going to do with my life, and if there was a life going through this transition. But to a higher power, I realized that there is life after blindness, and yes, you see and hear me today. I am still here, and I thank God for that. I also thank Him for a service that we have through the National Federation of the Blind. This particular service is called NFB Newsline. It allows individuals that are blind, visually impaired, and print challenged to have access to newspapers, magazines, TV guide listings, job listings, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And you use the tools that are provided for you, such as your landline phone, your Apple phone, it has an app, your Android phones, your digital talking player from the state libraries, as well as a device from the HumanWare that is called the Victor Reader Stream. Many in our community know of that, and many of our community don't know about it. So please get your pens and your papers and your slate and styluses together. So as you hear the numbers being ran across the screen, you'll hear them also, so that you can jot those numbers down, get in contact with the National Federation of the Blind, get in contact with the National Federation of the Blind Newsline office located here in Indianapolis, as well as Baltimore, Maryland, so that you can gain access to this valuable service. I am so passionate about this particular service that I can almost jump out my shoes just talking about it. So we'll be right back. We have a great guest today, Miss Jean Brown. She has a great hot topic to talk about, and she'll be talking about how the service impacts her professional life and her personal life. So Florence McSwine, a co-host.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I am doing great.
So we'll be right back as she's doing great. And she'll do great while we're on break, and we'll see you shortly.
Thousands of Indiana residents feel isolated from the world due to vision problems. Thanks to the National Federation of the Blind, visually impaired Hoosiers can hear newspapers, circulars, and magazines from across the globe.
I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm blind. I read Stars and Stripes on NFB Newsline.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Subscribe free to NFB Newsline.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I use NFB Newsline when reading Hammond Northwest Times.
Using NFB Newsline, I read the Christian Science magazine.
Dad, you read your Jerusalem Post too.
Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Live the life you want. Read NFB Newsline.
It's free.
Welcome back to the National Federation of the Blind, Newsline Indiana Monthly Report. Today we have a guest by the name of Miss Jean Brown, and welcome to the show again, Jean.
Thank you so much for having me.
And today we'll be covering, a very dear subject to you with diabetes
Yes.
and blindness.
Yes.
So, tell us a little bit about you. How long have you been blind?
I lost my sight when I was 23 years old, and just developed an eye disease called retinitis pigmentosa, or RP, and was told that I would not lose my sight until I was about 70. I haven't got to that age yet, but the sight has been gone.
Wow.
So it's one of those eye diseases that can be a very rare form, which is what I have, and it just took my sight a lot sooner than we expected.
Now, I know for many of us curious listening to you speak, that has nothing to do, RP and diabetes are two different areas, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So we'll talk about that a little bit more in the Hot Topic segment.
Okay.
Because I know people are, curious, and no question's a dumb question. So I'm just clearing myself of being a dummy.
No, you're not.
But also, we talk about a service the National Federation of the Blind has called NFB Newsline for the blind, visually impaired, and print challenge. You are a subscriber to that service. Could you let us know a little bit about how that service impacts your life?
I think it is so important, excuse me, it is so important to be able to read any document that is put out in print. It's important for us as blind people because we don't have someone to just come around and read newspapers and magazines to us and keep us updated on all the current events. And that's what Newsline does. You can read anything. I mean, sports articles, fashion articles, cooking articles, anything that you want to read, it's there at your fingertips. And that's so important to us.
You talk about fashion. You used to be a model.
Yes.
You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Well, it seems like ages ago, but I started modeling when I was 13, and I continued to do so until I lost my sight. Stopped for a few months and just couldn't let it go. So I started my own modeling troupe, and after that, did a little more work afterwards. But it's a very difficult field to break into, even as a sighted person. So once you lose your sight, it's really difficult.
Now, would you say that reading some of the publications that we have, like the Glamour magazine and some of the other health magazines and things of that nature, would that have been a great value to you at this stage in your life?
It's still a great value to me, simply because even though I was no longer in the fashion industry, I was no longer doing runway, I was able to open a salon and day spa. And when I opened that, I did it because I felt that I still had something to offer, and that people could come in feeling their worst, looking their worst, but when they left my shop, they were going to feel so good about themselves. So I think that all of that news is important, and it's always good to stay updated on the fashions, stay updated on the skincare products and everything that a person looks at when they see someone. I think it's important to know what makes them look their best.
Wow. So I agree with you, with all of that. And I'm finding that the Newsline service, keeps us abreast of, I guess, guys, we don't too much talk about glamour,
Wow.
But, we do have, we are very particular about our fashion as
That's
well.
right.
And
That's correct.
this is a great service for individuals that like to keep up with the trends. And the National Federation of the Blind provides that when you say so, Ms. Florence.
Yes, sir. While Jean, while you were talking about being a model, the first thing that actually came up was Glamour magazine. However, I also know you as a mother as well.
Yes.
And so there's other magazines that are very helpful for women like you and like myself. There's Family Fun magazine, Family Circle. Those are just two of the magazines that I consider family oriented. And and the topic that we're going to talk about today, I know that there's magazines also that you visited, that you've read, concerning the hot topic portion, and that would be the Diabetic Forum and Diabetic Living magazine.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to the conversation with you today.
Thank you.
And you're also the president of the Diabetic Division for the National Federation of the Blind of Indiana?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. We move forward in the hot topic segment as well.
Okay.
But there is life after blindness.
Certainly is.
There's ambition. One of the greatest deterrence is not blindness itself, but the misperception of the condition in our society.
Exactly.
And that misperception leads to some negativity. Such as the 70% unemployment rate in our communities, the misperceptions that, we cannot function in society, that we need dependence on individuals. But if it's all said and done, we all need dependence on one another, whether it's we need electricity to turn on, that's why our electricity bills are so enormous nowadays, because sighted people using electricity too much to see. We don't need electricity to see. So we will be right back on our next segment to talk a little bit more about Ms. Brown's ambitions and endeavors, and try to educate the general public a little bit more about diabetes and blindness, and what she's going through and how she's advocating throughout the state and around the country, because she's now a member of the National Board of Diabetes and on the National Federation of the Blind. And congratulations for that appointment too, Jean.
Thank you.
So we'll be right back on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana Monthly Report. Join us soon. Stay with us.
If you or someone you know is visually impaired or print challenged, the National Federation of the Blind has a resource you need.
I am a CFP practitioner, and I happen to be blind. I rely on NFB Newsline to keep me current with Wall Street Journal and the Financial Times.
Hoosiers can hear Indiana magazines, circulars, national magazines, and information from across the globe. Learn more by calling 855-963-6476 or visit nfbnewsline-in.org.
Welcome back. to this segment of Hot Topics on the National Federation of the Blind Newsline Indiana Monthly Report. And this Hot Topics, we're talking about diabetes and how it impacts individuals' lives. And we have a great guest here to inform us on how it impacts her life and things that you can do to help curtail some of the health issues related to diabetes. So, Ms. Jean Brown, once again, thank you for coming on to the show.
Thank you.
And Florence, go ahead.
Jean?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you again for being our guest.
Thank you.
And diabetes is also one of the topics dear to my heart as well. So let's talk.
Okay.
Okay. Now, how long has it been since you were diagnosed with diabetes?
I was diagnosed 26 years ago.
26 years.
Yes, as a type 2 diabetic.
Okay. Now, were you sick, or I'm going to put it like this: who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Well, I'll tell you, I certainly didn't. I always thought that diabetes was something that you got if you didn't eat right. I thought it was something that you got if you were overweight. I thought you can't have this and be active. And all of those turned out to be misconceptions. I went to the doctor and they said, well, you're a diabetic now and we're going to put you on medication. And I was like, well, what do I do? Well, just take the medicine. Obviously, that should not have been the final answer. There should have been a list of things that I was told to do once I was diagnosed, but I wasn't given that information. So I didn't know what to do to make changes. It turns out that diabetes is something that you have to take precautions so that you do not develop it. It's a disease that a lot of people want to deny, but it's also a disease that you can actually control. And so I found that eating right was the answer, but not alone. Exercising was a major part of controlling the diabetes. And not only that, but mentally, not letting this disease, like other diseases, cancer being one, heart patients have the same feelings about this, but not letting stress get the best of you. All of that affects diabetes. So there are so many things that this disease can cause. The number one cause of blindness is diabetes. The other problem is having to go on dialysis. The other problem is heart problems. The fourth is probably, oh goodness, blindness, dialysis, and obesity is definitely one of them. There's just so many things that can affect your diabetes.
Okay. Now,
And so it's something that you have to jump in with both feet.
with both feet.
And battle it.
Okay. Now, but you mentioned that you had gone to the doctor. So, what were your symptoms, Jean?
Well,
What was
I
going
kept
on with you
feeling
at that
very
time?
fatigued, and I kept feeling like I was thirsty, and having to urinate more frequently than ever. I thought, God, I didn't have to go this bad when I was pregnant. This is crazy. It was, you know, just a number of things. Craving anything sweet. It makes your body just totally react differently than normal. You have to notice it. And that's another thing that's very important is know your body.
Know your
Because when you go to a doctor, the only thing that he will do or she will do is diagnose you based on what you have told them. And so know your body. If you notice a change, that change is taking place for a reason.
Know your body. Now, you mentioned also exercise.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you seem to be pretty active.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, you know, I've heard you speak about things that you actually were involved in, and you seem to be a pretty active person.
Yeah.
So even with diabetes, Jeans, what are the things that you like to do now to, I say, stay active?
I probably exercise a lot more now. Trying to make sure that 5 days out of the week I'm getting a good workout. And even if I'm not, you know, lifting weights on the stepper, on a treadmill, that I walk. And that's very important. And then the other thing is I like to play beat baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah, you're a world champion too.
I am. Second year in a row. And I'm loving it because I was never active in sports as a teenager. And I really missed out on all of that because of medical reasons. If I got too exerted, I would just start hemorrhaging. My nose would bleed so bad until I would have to be rushed to the hospital. So I didn't get to participate in sports, and I really wanted to. And so my husband told me, you know, you ought to give beat baseball a try, see if you like it. And I thought, what are they going to do to me? And he said, what are they going to do to you? I said, yeah. I said, you know, you come home all banged and bruised up, and your legs are cut, your elbows are scraped, and your ribs hurt. What's going to happen? And so he said, well, you'll have to go and see. Maybe that won't happen to you. Well, I've been blessed so far. All I've done is sprained a thumb, but I absolutely love it because once they put the blindfold on, and I've been told that there are no trees or anything to run into, you're just free. You're free to run and get that exercise and just enjoy yourself. And so since I missed out on all of that as a teen, I figured, why not?
Okay.
I absolutely love it.
Right.
And I love being with the whole team. I mean, from the ages of 13 and up.
Okay, all right.
We have some fabulous guys on our team, and they love the sport.
And this year
They're
there's
dedicated to it, and I just love it.
back-to-back winners.
Yes,
Back-to-back world champions.
yes,
Yes.
world champs.
With
Yes.
diabetes and all.
With diabetes
blindness and
and all.
everything. So we're getting ready to wrap up this segment of the Hot Topics. As you know, you can live the life you want with diabetes, with blindness, just triumphing, over the trials in your life. So we'll be right back to wrap our show up. We'll see you shortly.
The National Federation of the Blind knows that blindness is not the characteristic that defines you or your future. Every day we raise the expectations of blind people because low expectations create obstacles between blind people and our dreams. You can live the life you want. Blindness is not what holds you back.
Welcome back. We're going to conclude our show today with a song from my niece, Miss Shayla Davis, who passed away at an early age with diabetes. And we just want to say, may you rest in peace. And with juvenile diabetes she was born with, and she passed away at the age of around 32 years old. So we're going to conclude with her singing.
It must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face to hide the pain for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I wish I could be. I could fly higher than an eagle. 'Cause you are the wind beneath my wings.
The National Federation of the Blind Indiana Monthly Report. For more information, go to nfb-in.org or call 317-205-9226. That's 317-205-9226. The National Federation of the Blind encourages you to live the life you want.